This is the Foxhole Podcast.
So I want to talk about a couple of topics that are sort of interrelated when it comes to human performance or performance enhancement and mental toughness, mental fortitude, if you will. It certainly pertains to life in general, but really kind of comes out in sport. And one of those things is this idea of sacrifice, and the other one's regret, right? And sacrifice, I'm sort of talking about this notion of there's a price to pay, right? So everything that crosses your path, that lands on your lap, slaps you in the face, for everything that happens to you in life, you have an opportunity. Any opportunity that you get, there's a price to pay. Someone invites you to try out for a basketball team. There's a price to pay for that. Someone tells you about a job and you want to apply for that job. There's a price to pay for applying for that job and then taking that job. You decide you want to be, so for my youth basketball team, you decide you want to be a travel basketball team player. It's not given to you. There's a price to pay. And if you come in as a player, and let's say you try out and make the team, and you're maybe the lowest guy or one of the lowest guys on the team. You know there's 10, 12 players, and you might be number 11, you might be number 12, you might be 10. You're definitely not in the starting group, right? There's a price to pay to make the team and to move up. If you want to move up, there's definitely a price to pay. If you're the number one guy, there's a price to pay. If you're the number 2, 3, 4, 5 guy, if you're the big, there's a price to pay. If you're the top guard, there's a price. There's always a price to pay. The key is in choosing which price to pay. And kind of here's what I mean. Delayed gratification. Up front, you can decide. Let's take, for example, video games. And you're presented with these choices between, and you guys know that you've been around me for a long time. We talk about this deal from Viktor Frankl. The last of human freedoms is choice. You have choices every single day. And if you've made this team or you want to make this team, and you're presented with these options of video games or practice, right? The price to pay to be good and to be better, to move from 10 to 9, to move from 11 to the number 3 player, it's going to require some sacrifice, and it's going to require you pay a price, right? And so when you're presented with this, like, hey, can I play video games? I can play video games right now after school, or I can go out when it's sprinkling outside and practice dribbling, practice shooting. By the way, doing it outside when it's raining or it's cold is not only going to help you in your skill, it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you tougher, grittier. Very few people are doing that, right? So be the guy, be the gal, be the person that goes out there and does it. So you're presented with these things, like I can play video games or I can practice. And so it's not easy to go out in the cold and shoot. The rewarding thing is I play video games. I'm comfortable. I can eat some Cheez-Its while I'm sitting there. I'm in a warm house. The price to pay if you want to move up is to be out in the cold, is to be out there doing it when everyone else is comfortable. You're out making yourselves uncomfortable. You're pushing you're not just out there shooting shots. You're pushing yourself. You're taking game-like shots. You're imagining you're in the game, attacking the basket, whatever it is. And we're just talking about youth here, about basketball, but there's a price to pay. And when I said there's a choice, that you have a choice in the price to pay, here's what I mean. You can choose to suffer first by going out and working out and delaying gratification with your video games, or you can see those video games as a reward to your hard work. Going out and practicing for an hour or 2 hours, that's your reward. Now you come and play the video game. Instead of it being the first thing, delay the gratification of playing the video game, right? First, go do the thing you need to do to move up. And that's the price to pay. Now, if you make that choice, that choice will be rewarding for you. That said, if you choose to play video games, I know what happens. You're playing those video games after school, and then it gets dark, and then you're not going to go outside because it's really too cold. Your mom's not going to. You're going to start finding every excuse you can in the book about to go outside and work out and work on your shot. It's too dark. It's too cold. It's too late. I have to get dinner. Blah, blah, blah. There's a million excuses, right? So if you pay that first price, you go out first, then you don't have to worry about any of these other things. But if you don't do that, the other price, and I'm talking about choices of paying the price. The other price you're going to pay is at the end of the game when you couldn't execute a shot because your footwork wasn't right. You couldn't get a shot off because you were too slow in setting up your shot. You got the ball stolen because your handles weren't good enough. There's an end of the game. You're going to think to yourself, I didn't get outside and practice. I didn't do the things I needed to do to be successful. So you're paying a price. One of those prices is good. Getting out there and pushing yourself and getting gritty and being tough and getting faster and getting stronger and getting better. That's the price you want to pay. The price you don't want to pay is the one when you're at the end of the game going, I should have worked out. And that's the regret piece that we're talking about, right? That's the regret piece. And I know right now we're in the season of middle school tryouts, right? Where kids are trying out for their teams. And some of the guys that play on my team made it and some didn't. Some didn't. And the beauty of failure at times, right? This example, not making a team. It's easy to turn your anger at a coach. It's easy to turn your anger at a team or at a situation where, hey, there's 100 kids trying out and there's two coaches and they've got like 4 hours to sort out what are the 12 players going to be on the team. It's easy to get angry there. And I've been there. I know. Anything I'm telling you, I'm coming to you from experience, right? It's easy to be angry. But what people sometimes fail to do is to point the finger back at themselves and say, what could I have done to ensure I was on that team? You're kind of paying a price, right? Did you do, and this is what I told some of my players. I told some of you, if you're listening to this, I told you this. Did you do everything in your power in the 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months leading up to middle school tryouts? Because if you're playing on my team, we've been talking about middle school tryouts since last spring, since last April. Nearly a year I've been talking about middle school tryouts. So if you as a player, did you do everything you could do to get yourself ready for those tryouts? When you had a spare moment, did you go outside and work out? Or did you play video games? Did you come to every practice you could with enthusiasm and tenacity and intention? Did you do everything you could do to become a better basketball player? And if the answer to that is no, it's hard to get mad at anybody else. If you did everything you could do and you showed up at a tryout and they overlooked you, hey, what can you have done? But if you didn't do everything you could do you really have a right to be angry at a coach, angry at a situation or a system? I'm not saying that look, everyone on my team has the capacity and ability to play on a middle school team. They do. I've been coaching long enough. I know what the skill levels are. Right? I know that everyone could play on a middle school team, for sure. But some of you and some of them who tried out and didn't make it are living with some regret now, right? They didn't take every opportunity they could to make it. And some kids that made it on the team didn't take every opportunity to get better either. They just made the team, right? And there's a false sense of like accomplishment in that. Hey, I made this team, so I'm on it. Did you do everything you could do to make the team? Did you do everything you could do to be better? The answer is probably going to be no, right? But here's what I want to say to the regret side. The kids that didn't make the team and may have some regrets now, there's opportunity in that situation. You didn't make team. Okay. As you guys know, I like to say, I still love from Jocko. Good. You did make the team. Good. Now's your chance in the interim between, it's a short season, 5 games, 5 weeks, I think 10 games in 5 weeks. It's a short season. You've got 5 weeks to put 100% pressure on yourself to be a better shooter, to be a better ball handler, to be a better passer, to have better game time decisions. You have all this opportunity to do that because you're not doing anything else. You're not playing on a middle school team. You're not learning a new system. You're not having to do anything else with anybody else. Just focus on being better. That's your opportunity. But I'm going to warn you, getting back to those video games and the sacrifice and the price to pay. If you don't pay the price now, in the 5 weeks that you have, you're going to pay a price at the end because 5 weeks is short. You can get a lot done in 5 weeks, but 5 weeks is also short. You're going to end up at the end of those 5 weeks and you're going to look around and you're going to be in the same place. You're not going to have grown or advanced. If you don't pay the price, you're going to not have grown or advanced one bit in that 5 week period. And then when you don't do it, remember the last human freedom's choice, you're going to have regrets. So here's the thing. Don't let an opportunity that grows out of a situation like not making the middle school team, don't let that opportunity sit idle. Don't waste the opportunity, because if you do, the missed opportunity itself will become yet another regret.
This is the Foxhole Podcast.